It's a nice day today out riding and out in the forest, so I thought I'd tell you a little bit about the bike. Sitting there. I've now put 444 kilometres on it, so it's just about due for its first service. So far proved virtually trouble free, so all's been good that side. Now if you ask does it perform any better, it's a bit hard to say at the moment as far as that goes, because I'm still only running the bike in, so it'll take a while before you can go that far, but I would say performance wise it's just on par with the other. But as far as the new ECU fueling, the best thing about it is there's no surging or anything like that when you first take off from cold. So for example, when you get out there and turn the ignition on with the old style bike, you would take off down the road, change into a couple of gears, then all of a sudden the bike would start bucking around and stuff like that and pushing you along as if there's a tractor behind you pushing you along, or so a car's coming up behind hitting you in the arse of the bike, pushing you along like that. The fueling system now with this bike is that good that you just back off and it runs along really nicely, accelerates smoothly. So there's a big improvement in the fueling. So that side, and it seems a little bit crisp, so you know, like it's good in that fueling side. I don't know whether this too has got to do with the NGK spark plug I also fitted and pissed the Bosch plug off, so that could have something to do with it too. So remember, I'm not running it with the factory standard Bosch, so I didn't like it to start with, so it's out. So that's something I wouldn't be able to compare it with. Now say for example you walked into a bike shop and they said to you you could have the new Euro 4 version with the ABS and the another bloody car. Yeah, with the ABS system, or you could go back to the old C5 version and they'd give you X amount of dollars off. Well, I wouldn't hesitate to swing in by the ABS version with the new swing arm, because even if you never had ABS, the new swing arm alone is worth the investment, because the Thunderbird swing arm on this bike really improves the handling, swinging from one side to the left. Like you can really, I don't know, when this bike's run in and you've got full power, and I mean on these bikes you haven't got much full power, but when you have got full power and you can come into a bike and even I notice now, when you lean it over, it just flows left, right, stuff like that, where before it just didn't do it. In any of the bikes there before, you know, you had to do mods to them and stuff like that. So if anyone tries to kid you and say to yourself, the old bike's better, they're up themselves and they're only trying to sell you the old bike. It's simple as that. I know I've had, like I said, if you looked at my other videos, I've had 11 of these bikes and I've had 9 C5s. So I've been on enough of the bastards to know if they're any good or not. This one's good in the handling, it's very good in the braking compared to the old bikes. And remember, the other drum brake bikes did have troubles with the brake rear wheel lockup, and you might say, I've never heard of it. You only have to hear of it once, and you only have to be on that bike once, and you'll wish you never had the bastard to be on it in the first place. This is not going to happen with this bike. So that's the best way to look at it. These people that say to you, it won't happen to me. You only have to be on it once. It happened to you once, and you wish you'd ever been on the bastard. And you might walk away from it, or you might not. So that's the difference. So I decided when these bikes were coming out, I wasn't going to take the risk. And you never know when your luck runs out. So, but apart from that, I think it's a good investment for one of these bikes, and if you want to take the risk, well, that's up to you and just go and buy the other. That choice is yours. I'm not here to make your choices, just give you an opinion. A few things I like about the bike. Well, I like the ignition headlight on feature. I think that's pretty good because I always ride the bike with the headlight on, so that saves me turning it on to start with, and I think it's a good safety feature. I also like the side stand startup idea too, because that helps me when I pull up out front of the garage. Now I can just put it in neutral and push up the roller door and then just go straight into the garage after that, and then turn the bike off rather than turn the bike off and then get out there and push it in through or restart it and then ride around the back. So that idea is a good idea. I really like this new Thunderbird swing arm because this bike really does handle nicely, even though I've only been riding it up around 60 k's or something like that during the running process. Around town it really swings nicely around the left-right bends. So compared to the old C5s, these ones with the Thunderbird swing arms really handle nicely. So you can chuck it left to right around the corners, and the first thing I got on the bike I noticed within a matter of 20 kilometres how much better this bike handles compared to the several I owned beforehand. As for the ABS system, well, at first they appeared a bit woody, but now they are starting to bed in a bit and getting a bit of bite in them and something like that. So they are starting to come into their own now, the ABS system, and the rear brake has got a lot more bite compared to the old drum style one. So that side is starting to take effect now. I've had a chance to use the brake a couple of times hard, or a lot harder than normal, and I can tell you now the brakes are really good compared to what we look at the old disc drum affair of the old C5s from the old days. So overall you would have to rate this bike pretty good, you know, as far as well ahead of the old C5. So I think overall anyone who was looking at buying one of these, it would be it's a good investment as far as that goes. So if you said, you know, like, they are well ahead of the old style bike. You may also be asking about what's it like on fuel. Well, seem to be alright on petrol, but you don't buy these to worry about petrol, but it seemed to be pretty good on the run in so far before the fuel light come on the other day. So it seems pretty good on that one. So, but there'll be a couple of mods I'm going to try on this bike, and I think what I will have a go shortly will be I'll piss off that big muffler and I'll try my sports exhaust, what I tried once it gets a few more kilometres on it and the second service is done at the dealer shortly. And once you get rid of that muffler and put a sports exhaust on them, it wakes them up a bit. So once you wake them up a bit, they really perform a bit better, and once they get up around a couple of thousand k's, you know, they move along pretty well. Then you can put an electronic jet kit on them, and I don't know about this one, if you can run it on that one, it'll be hard to say. But even if you've got an old style C5, just an exhaust, EJK on the unit, and they'll step along pretty well, and they'll run along at 100, 110 k's pretty easy. Pull the hills good. You can have a lot of fun with them. All you have to do is go back in through my profile there on Waro or Dual 0164 on YouTube, and you'll see all the bikes there from Continental GTs and all the other bikes I've had, and you'll see what I've done to them and stuff like that, and how they go on the rides they've been on. So you'll know what I've done to them and how they run along and stuff like that. And you know, they do work well with the mods on them, and you don't have to spend enough money on them to up the power a little bit or enough to make you happy with it. So, you know, it's just something like, I've even run them with the Power Commander 5 and stuff like that, but they're a bit expensive. They don't make that, they make a little bit more power, but, you know, just working on an EJK, that's the electronic jet kit you can buy, and sometimes just the investment of a muffler for $100 can sort of transform these straight away into a little bit of a rocket ship, because in standard form they really are really gutless wonders, or you would say, quiet but gutless. But just by removing the muffler, wakes them right up, and they get up and go, and then you can go along and enjoy yourself on them, and they look the part, they sound the part, and you can have a bit of fun with them. So that's an option you can go to.